Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video, and we are going to be talking about walking Tomb Dreng, the new fusion champion, fragment fusion champion, and I think this is somebody that everybody out there is going to want to fuse. He's going to help every single account, as far as I can tell, except maybe like the super whale high-end game accounts, but I think pretty much everybody's going to benefit from this champion, and I'm going to break down exactly why and where he's going to be helpful for you as we go through this video. So that's kind of the plan for today. Now, we are on the test server taking a look at this champion kind of for the first time. I haven't had a lot of time to play with him because I had a really busy 4th of July weekend, but I did want to make sure we got a good look at him before the Fragment Fusion event went live, so you guys can understand exactly, do you want to do this or not? And there's a big question here because everybody just spent a lot of resources getting Hellcat, and Hellcat was amazing and totally worth it. Do you still have resources left to get this one? Well, if you do, I encourage it, because I think this guy is actually going to be really beneficial no matter where you use him. If you are an early or mid-game account, if you're still progressing, like through the dungeons, right? We're talking Spider, Dragon, Ice Golem, Fire Knight, the dungeons. If you're progressing through those, man, Drang is going to be great for you, especially for Spiders. In fact, I think this guy is so good that he's going to be able to help carry you all the way to stage 24 in Spiders. But he's not going to be able to do 25, and that's going to be a big negative to his kit. So you got to kind of keep that in mind. If you're an end game player and you're like, well, I already do stage 24, I was looking to maybe get to stage 25 or make 25 faster, walking Tomb Dreng's probably not going to help you in that. Just the reality of it. But he's going to be an amazing carry. His heal's one of the best in the game. He has an AoE HP burn, and I think even if you're end game and you're like, I got stage 25 on lock, but I'm struggling with Doom Tower, well, I think Drang is going to be incredibly useful for that. Not only is he a spirit-based champion, which there's not a lot of AoE HP burn spirit-based champions, right? Usually they're blue affinity or they're red affinity, not a lot in green affinity. So this helps balance that out. But he's also going to be really easy to build because you don't need accuracy on his kit, which is insane. So for those Doom Tower bosses where you're struggling, this guy might be incredibly useful, and we will take a peek at that as well, just like we're going to do with Spiders. Then, of course, maybe you're super endgame and you're like, man, I beat Doom Tower all the time. Well, one spot where I think he's actually going to be really helpful is in Hydra, because you don't need accuracy to land his HP burn. He has an incredible heal on his kit, one of the best in the game. So he's going to be actually pretty darn useful there. I actually use champions like Mordecai or Ignatius in my Spider teams a lot just to get those HP burns out. I think Drang is going to give them a run for their money as far as which one I want to bring, because he brings a lot more stuff to the table. Not to mention he has a ton of HP on his kit because he's an HP champion, so he'll survive a lot longer as well. So there's a lot of stuff in here that I think you're going to want to, consider and think about, but I will try to make this video as fast as I can. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it is a little bit longer as we're going to go over his full kit here. So before anything else, let's go ahead, look at his kit, and then we'll go ahead and bring him into some of these different areas and see exactly how he plays. And of course, before I forget, I do want to remind you guys, if you have a moment, consider hitting that subscribe and that notification bell. I do these videos, you watch them because you like them. If you do, go ahead, support the channel by hitting that subscribe button, easiest thing you can do. And that notification bell will mean that you don't miss out on the next one of these types of videos that I put out, or like the next CC contest I do, which might be coming up pretty soon. So something to consider as you're going forward. Also, guys, make sure to hit up the website. I mean, obviously, if you're in a clan boss, I got all those speed tunes on there. I've got the arena calculator, the clan boss calculator. Definitely something you want to go check out and see. So make sure to go by there and check that out. Let's look at the champion. All right, first off, this is walking Tomb Dreng, who looks amazing. And by the way, there's a little secret on his back. I don't know if you guys notice, but there's a little person back there. That's not creepy at all. Oh man, I love the artwork they do on these things. Okay. Outside of that, though, he's got an awesome kit as well. You'll see on his A1 here, it's a 2-hit attack. All of his skills are HP based damage, so all you have to do is build his HP up and you'll get more damage out of him. Instantly activates any HP burn debuff. You don't need accuracy for this to work, which is phenomenal. And it's really phenomenal because of the next skill on his kit, which is Exalted Pyre, AoE attack, and will, at 100% chance when booked, place HP burn on all enemies for 2 turns, and this debuff cannot be resisted. Again, don't need accuracy for this. So you don't need accuracy in his kit whatsoever. You get an AoE HP burn, you get activation of it on his A1. A lot of stuff to like about this kit, guys. That is on a 3-turn cooldown, which is important because of his A3 skill. And now his A3 equalizes HP of all allies, then attacks one enemy. So cool, you're not missing any attacks by using any of his skills. And an HP equalization is probably the biggest heal in this game because he's probably going to have the most HP on your team. That means pretty much a full heal for all of your allies. As long as he has the most HP on your team, that is massive, right? Then the HP, like, they're all going to be brought up to the level of the ally with the highest HP. Again, him. And then the attack will ignore 30% of the target's defense if the target's current HP is equal to or lower than this champion's current HP. Cool. So he'll hit harder. That's fine. I haven't found this kit to be a super big damage dealing kit. I will check that out. We will see how that works. But my guess is you're not going to want to build him for damage as much as you're going to want to build him for other things in this game. Will decrease the cooldown of Exalted Pyre skill by 1 turn if the target's current HP is higher than this champion's current HP, which means against bosses, he's going to get that cooldown of Exalted Pyre down to 2 turns, which means you can use Exalted Pyre, you can burn, use Death Balance, and then come back and burn again, which is really, really nice. And then after that, you're going to be activating with that A1 skill. So he's got a lot of stuff to really like in his kit here. And then, of course, he's got, that's not it. It's not just his A2 and his A3 skill. He's got a passive as well. This one's going to reflect 30% of the damage back to the attacker if he has 50% or more HP. Now, the way I would like to build him, I want him always to have that much HP, but it's good to know because if he doesn't, he's going to deal 30% more damage instead. So whether he has more HP or less, he's going to be dealing extra damage from his kit because of that passive, which is nice. And then, of course, he does have a good aura. It's a HP percent in all battles, 30% HP in all battles aura. That's always nice because it doesn't matter where you bring him, whether it's arena, dungeons, clan boss, doom tower, Hydra, he's going to give you a little bit more from his kit just off that. So that's really great. So that's the skills. Now let's look at how I've built this one. Now I do talk about how I built this one because you can build him in a bunch of different ways. All he needs, remember, he doesn't need accuracy at all in his kit, and he's an HP based champion. So the only thing you have to have is high HP. Outside of that, you can really customize your build based on what you want. You can go with a set, like maybe you want to put a stun set on him, or maybe you want to put a toxic set on him, or maybe you just want to put speed set on him. All that works just fine. But you can also build him with damage by focusing more on crit rate and crit damage, or you can focus on resistance like I did here and build that up. So there's a bunch of different ways you can go. The only thing you need is HP on his kit, right? You need him to survive. You want that heal to be big. Outside of that, you can really do what you like out of it. So your account will really dictate how you're going to build him. Now, for me, I wanted to build him more survival, right? I want to see how he worked in, dungeon and boss stuff. So I'm talking about Hydra. I'm talking about Doom Tower. I'm talking about Spider. Areas we're going to bring him in today. And so I built him with a regen set, keep his HP up. I built him with a resistance set because I don't want him taking those debuffs, right? I want him maybe even to be a mischief target from the mischief head, right? So there's a couple different ways you can build him. This is how I built this one. Now, as far as the stats I put on him, you're going to be focusing on the same things I am, right? I'm focusing on that HP, obviously. I'm focusing on that speed, 218 speed. I'm focusing on that resistance. Now, the first two, you definitely want, right? Speed and HP. Those are always going to be valuable, especially with someone that heals. You want him taking as many turns as possible. A relentless set would probably be amazing on this champion. But I also want him to be able to survive, hence the extra defense, right? If I could get that even higher, that'd be great. I want him to see if he can deal damage, hence the crit rate. And again, did I say survival? I did mean it. I got the resistance on him. Now, maybe your account can't do that. That's okay. You got to build him to what you can do. The basics, speed, HP. As far as his masteries go, like I said, I plan on taking him in against bosses mostly. So I did take him all the way down to War Master on the offense side, and then I took him down the defensive tree just to add a little resistance and a little survivability to his kit. You could easily take him down the support tree, probably going down and getting some healing, as well as maybe down to Master Hexer and extending those HP burn debuffs. I think both of those are reasonable alternatives as far as approaches to this. You could even do defense and offense tree, getting both of those things and not worrying about him doing doing any damage whatsoever. But this is a little bit of a showcase, so I wanted to give him a little bit of offense. I did try him in Helm Smasher at Flawless Executioner. I didn't find a lot of love in that personally, so I will see if we can't try him in a offensive kit before we get out of here, so you can see exactly what damage he does. But that's not my focus in this video. So the first place I want to try him out is going to be in Spiders. Now, he's not going to be good on Spiders 25 because, yes, that A2, the AoE HP burn, even though it cannot be resisted, it won't land on a weak hit. So he's going to be really bad against anybody that's blue affinity. So level 25 Spider, he's just not going to be very good for. But anything else, all the way from 20 to 24, he's going to be fantastic. And so I'm actually going to take him here into 24. I actually have my speed Spider team here, right? With Sissia to activate the burns. I got Crypt King Grawl to, extend the duration of them. Kymar to reset. Cold Heart to take down the Terminator of the Queen. All these things are going to work in here. This should give you an idea of how he could work. Now, obviously, you don't need all these champions. You can run him in a slower HP burn team. Truthfully, all I would need to make him work with the team, Miscreated Monster in him. Get a big shield from Miscreated Monster. They'll survive. He's going to land the HP burn. That's all I need to take down stage 20, maybe even stage 24, to be honest. So if you're looking to progress, if you are not at stage 20 in Spiders or not stage 24, this guy's going to be essential to getting to those stages, and I would definitely fuse him there. All right, so here we go. Now, we have too much crit rate on Drang for this to be super effective, but it should be okay, right? We're going to see here. We get the AoE HP burn. There you go. You can see it goes on everybody, no matter what. Extended by Grawl and activated by Sissia. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I basically had to turn off a bunch of skills kind of to showcase the best we can with this. There you go. You see that other one, and that's where it kills the Spiderlings. That's where it's like too much going on there with the damage. Pretty, it's to be expected, but it's definitely not optimal for this type of team for the best speeds possible. But I think here in a second, we should be able to see him activate that A1 skill. Boom, boom. You can see that HP burn goes on everybody. It's really nice. And then Sissia finishes it off. 36 seconds, not my best time by any stretch of the imagination, but you can see how effective he is. Big old HP burn. He activates it on the A1, which is always really nice. So I think he's going to be really good in a lot of, definitely going through Spiders. And with a more traditional team with like a Miscreated Monster giving us a big shield and running through it, I think he's going to be outstanding because you can't resist that HP burn. His A3 is actually going to cool it down so it can come up more often. His A1's going to activate it on the Queen, but not even the Spiderlings. So the Spiderlings are still going to tick and get you that benefit. So he's going to be really, really good for that. So here we are showing you him at the Frost Spider. Now I figured this is the best way to do it. We are in hard, we are at the top stage, and we're going to be able to see his HP burn in action. I have Mithrala, Siphi, Lady Kimmy, and Draco with him. Now none of those others heal except for Siphi, and it's a pretty small heal by herself. She wouldn't be able to keep everybody alive, but it's a pretty solid team around him. But there's not a lot of damage. We're getting all the damage primarily from the HP burn, and because he doesn't need accuracy, we don't have to worry about landing that burn on the Frost Spider. It's a huge help for us, and that's where we're going to be getting our damage from. He's going to be activating it with his A1. He's going to be landing it every time with that A2, and he's actually going to be keeping our team alive by healing with the A3 like he did right there, and that's going to help a lot for this type of a team. And because we can build him with resistance, that means a lot of the debuffs he's going to be able to avoid taking in the first place, which is huge because then he'll be able to continue taking his turn. Obviously, having Siphi in there with the block debuffs helps a lot, but yeah, he's going to be great for this type of a team. And you can see the burns are already out there on everybody. He's already activating it just like right there and helping do that damage. And because the thing about HP burn which makes it so good is when it activates on any enemy champion, it hits all the enemy champions. So it's a really great skill to bring, especially against bosses. And the more adds they have, the more little minions, the better it is. And so this is why I think he's going to be exceedingly good for this part of the game, right? Doom Tower bosses, especially against people like Griffin. I think he's going to be really good against that. I think he's going to be really good against the Elder Dragon, especially, who has a lot of adds as well. And that heal ability is really, really nice of his too. So there's a lot of stuff to really like about his kit. I think you guys are gonna, there's a lot to like. What else can I say? So yeah, you can see kind of how it works here. We'll get through this. It just takes us a little time. So as you can see there, Drang is really effective in going through these bosses, right? 22 million damage by him. Really impressive. That's kind of the power of Drang. I mean, actually, Mithrala did a lot with the poisons right there. But you can see, like, it's the debuffs that are really doing a lot of the work there, and Drang was successful. Now, that was 7 minutes to get through it. Not fast, but I mean, it was very effective. We were in no danger. Obviously, the rest of the team helping keeping everybody alive was really important. And I don't know that I would rely on Drang to keep everyone alive by himself necessarily, but every 4 turns he had a really massive heal, and that's really effective to keeping everybody alive. The rest of the team was kind of keeping everybody static until he could bring everybody's HP back up to full, which is really, really nice to be able to do that. So you can see in a lot of the different Doom Tower bosses, I think he's going to be super, super effective for us. Okay, so we're going to bring in this team. I think this is, you know, a pretty balanced team, nothing too crazy. I am just doing hard difficulty as I'm not fine tuning this team. This is not necessarily what I would use, but these are some champions that I really like for Hydra, right? We got Vergis here, gives ally protection and also focus the mischief head on to our champion that we want to take it. In this case, Drang. We also have Rector Drath in here. We've got Royal Guard for a little more damage, Umbral Enchantress for block debuffs, and Stagnite for decreased defense, decreased attack, and decreased speed. So I think this should be a pretty good team to run, and I'm just going to try running it on auto and just see how it works. So as we go into this, one thing to pay attention to, we do not have cleanse. There's none in this team, so that heal reduction can be a really big issue. That's something that we're going to want to try to address as best we can. Now, if we can land that decreased speed, that's huge. We're going to be able to get this going now. Don't have to worry about things. This is great. Okay, so the point is we're going to be able to block that initial the initial what do you call it, the poison cloud that comes from the heads, that poison head, which is really nice. So we don't have to deal with that. That's really great. Basically, I can run it on auto now, as we're going to block that. And the HP burn, of course, is great, but the cleanse happens right after that, and so we have to worry about that initial one from that head of decay. The rest of the time we should be fine. We're going to get those HP burns going quite often. Now obviously weak hits will be a problem, so you know, the poison cloud is definitely an issue. Affinity of the different heads is definitely an issue. Any blue affinity head like on decay means we probably won't land that HP burn all the time. About 1/3 of the time we won't, so we have to make sure we're aware of that. Now, because we don't have to build accuracy on Drang, we can focus on resistance and make him a perfect mischief head target. Now, do I have enough resistance on him for this thing? I mean, I don't know. At this difficulty, I think we're close. I might not have quite enough, but we're pretty close to it. And so it's just about, you know, trying to balance that out. But, you know, with this team, hopefully we have enough healing, we have some revive, and those HP burns will hopefully be doing enough damage for us so that we can get a really good result out of this. And so you'll be able to see HP burn goes up, and it goes up pretty frequently. And I did mention that heal reduction. This is something to pay attention to. There will be points where the heal reduction goes on one of our champions from that head of decay, and Drang doesn't care, right? And the reason why, you'll see right there, healed up Royal Guard. I know it's kind of hard to see through all the buffs and debuffs. It's kind of hard to see, but healed Royal Guard up full even with the heal reduction, because it's an HP equalization, not a heal, quote unquote, right? So it's not going to block it, which is massive for us. So I think that's actually a really cool ability that he has, and I think that makes him even more valuable against Hydra. He's going to be able to heal your team regardless of the heal reduction. He's going to be able to place those HP burns pretty much all the time, and he'll bonus activate them, which is one of the reasons why champions like Ninja and Sissia are so strong, is because they activate those HP burns for you, dealing extra damage. You could even pair him very easily, I think, with another HP burn champion and have even better results, because he's going to be activating them. So the more you can put out there, the more often they stay up, the better it's going to be overall. And so yeah, that's kind of that's what he does here. So I'm interested to see what kind of damage we do. I don't know. I'm just going to kind of let this run on auto. I might target a head or two when someone gets swallowed, and that's pretty much it. And we'll see what kind of results we get at the end. So yeah, let's fast forward to the end. Okay, there we go. 11.6 million, not too shabby. You can see a big 5.5 from Drang. That HP burn's effective. I mean, this is not the perfect team, right? Obviously 11 million on hard is not anything to write home about, but it's not a terrible result either. You know, I'm not bringing in a whole lot of meta champions in this, so you know, he's the only legendary in the group. I'd say it's a pretty good result, honestly. And we do that twice, and we got Hydra knocked down. This 2-key team right there. So not too shabby, I would say, overall. All right, one last thing I want to test in this is how he does damage-wise. So I built him as strong as possible here. You can see Savage, crit damage set. I've got him with 85,000 HP, 293 crit damage, 100% crit rate. If he can hit, we'll see it. Okay, so let's see how this goes. We're going to go ahead and get Sleep from Kymar to start it off. We're going to get that Decreased Defense and Weaken from Lydia. He's an HP-based champion, so there's nothing really else coming up out of this. Big hit is kind of this A3, but it's a single target. So I'm going to do the A2 AoE with the HP burn. I mean, you can see pretty decent numbers. Nothing crazy out of that from what I could tell. Let's reset and see exactly what that was again, because I feel like there's some interesting stuff going on there. Yeah. All right, one more time with that A2. This is the only AoE attack he has. Boom. 40k, 60k. It's okay. It's okay. He's not what I would call a damage dealer. That's not like his main focus here. Obviously, the HP burns will help, and the hits will help, but like I don't think I would look at him and say, oh yeah, this guy's gonna, you know, destroy the enemy. Obviously, they have that stupid cleanse ability, which is annoying, but such is life. And we'll just kind of keep going through it, and hopefully we can survive this. We can actually reset that cooldown. This is the single target attack. This is A3, right? We don't have the debuffs out there. We can kind of see 95k. That's not too bad. That A3 ability does seem to hit pretty hard. We got that, you know, reduction of defense because they should all have a lot less defense than we do out here. So that definitely helps. That's not too shabby, I would say. Strip those debuffs off. Let's see what his A1 can do. Obviously, there's no HP burn, but yeah, 24k, 37k. I mean, it's okay, but you know, we got to remember, like, we have him absolutely stacked out. If he's not doing that kind of damage, there's a problem, right? So I don't know that I would say there's anything to really write home about with him. It's, you know, it's a balance, right? A1 again, 30, 50k total. It's not too bad. It's not terrible numbers, but it's definitely nothing great. So that's Walking Tomb Dreng. I think he's a very good champion and going to be useful all throughout this game. I don't think he's meta breaking. I don't think he's someone that is a must fuse, but I think he's going to be incredibly useful for many of you. So if you guys are hurting on resources, I mean, I think you're going to be able to get away with not fusing this champion. I don't think he's going to be one of those champions. He's not Brogni. He's not Hellcat, right? You're not going to be like, I can't build this team because I don't have him. I don't see him in that way. But I do think he's really useful. And as an AoE HP burn champion, one of the few in Spirit Affinity, I think that's really, really positive. He might be the only one, actually, now that I think about it. Also, he's going to be really good for the faction. That faction, Knight Revenant, has some difficulty with healing, and he's one of the best healers in this game. So if you're struggling with faction wars, I think this is going to be a really good person. If you're struggling with spiders, he's going to be really good. If you need a little help in Hydra, I think he's going to be advantageous. And if you're struggling with Doom Tower, I don't see a reason not to fuse this champion. So for all of you out there, I would say if you can, fuse him. But obviously, if you're hurting for resources, and understandable after the Hellcat fusion, and you need to take a break, you're not going to be, I don't think this is going to, you know, make you, you know, lose sleep in the middle of the night going, oh, if only I had gotten this guy. It's not that kind of a champion. So pretty cool. A little overall review. I think we got to show him in a bunch of different areas with a bunch of different, you know, ways to use him for your teams. And personally, I would be building him really high HP, really fast. Relentless gear would be amazing on this champion, I think, because you want him taking as many turns as possible to heal as much as possible, to push HP burn out as much as possible. And so things like Relentless, Reflex gear, I think are going to be really, really good on him. But really good champion overall. I liked him a lot, and I'm excited to get him on my account. Hopefully you are on yours. Guys, don't forget to subscribe, and until next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.